Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How in the world are you? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation. Yes, the host with the most, the man with the plan, the guy that has the power that can bring it less than an hour. You know I'm the voice, and you know I'm the choice, and we're doing it again. Another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and we're actually here. I mean, technically, I want to say that we are in an undisclosed location, but I think that that's definitely going to be a lie. But I'm probably going to say that a lot today in this episode. If you really want to know where the hell we are over at the KU Dungeon over in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Basically, if you are from the Maryland state and you're from the area, it literally is a hop, skip, and a jump away from Arundel Mills Mall. It's a real cool place. We get to use this facility from time to time for a lot of reasons, and especially like if we want to bring in-person guests, we definitely can do that. And we definitely got that going for you today. I'm really excited about it, and it's great, because I just kind of figured. Not that, for nothing. I think that if you really want to celebrate and embrace people and what they do creatively, we got to have more guests of that magnitude more often. And this one was something that I really thought about, and it landed on my lap recently, and I felt really good about it. I was like, oh, okay, great opportunity. We're going to go ahead and be a little bit unconventional today. So I'm just going to get this little thing going, and I am going to go ahead and drop this little disclaimer here. Normally, I would say this at the end of each podcast episode, but because we have an in-person guest, I thought I would go ahead and get rid of at least the bulk of it now, so that we can concentrate on the interview. And that disclaimer is the following. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there that would like to assist us in our podcast show by the ways of, sponsorship and or financially donating to the podcast show to help improve the quality of this podcast to make it better. Any of the proceeds / money that we raise, it will go to be getting more equipment and better equipment that we need, such as, microphones for in-studio guests, the XLR cables or the XLR cables for those said microphones, extra headphones for our in-studio guests, and et cetera, et cetera. And, whatever that you can donate, we really appreciate it. Now, let me insert that little inside joke. If you want to donate $5 million, which I don't think anybody would want to donate that, but you never know, and that's wishful thinking, you can do so. Or if you want to donate as little as $5, every little bit helps, and we definitely would appreciate your help. This is on a voluntary basis, so it's not mandatory, but again, we do appreciate the fact that if you want to help us out and you want to donate, we really would appreciate that very much, because this is not just my podcast show. It is your podcast. It's the podcast of the people. We're bringing it back to the people, and you guys have the power. You guys are the bosses, and you guys definitely make it work. Now, you can make a donation at the following. You can either do it by PayPal and or Venmo, and we have a CashApp. So, by donating to PayPal and Venmo, find us under our tag name, or my tag name, at KimHoangMDActor. That's once again at KimHoangMDActor. If you want to donate via Cash App, you can go ahead and put in the $ KimHoangMDActor. Once again, the tag name is $KimHoangMDActor. And again, you can, it's a voluntary donation. You can donate as frequently as you want to. If you want to donate 4 times a month, you can. If you want to donate 3 times or 2 times a month, you can. Or even on like a one-time donation every month, or just a one-time straight-up donation. We definitely appreciate that. And if you are unable to donate, just please let people know about this, and maybe they might be, willing to help out. And, either way, we appreciate the assistance, and we appreciate anybody out there that might want to help us out financially and donate to our cause. You know what I mean? Yo, Hector, what's up, bro? Oh, well, bring him in. Bring him in. Damn, man. Come on. Bring the brother in. Good Lord, man. I tell you, it's just one of those things, man, where when the guests come in the building and they're there, and Hector sees them, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, just bring them in. Bring him or her in. Let them sit down. We already got everything all set up. All they need to do is just sit down. We'll give a quick acknowledgement of like, hey, like a little wave or something. Wave to them to have a seat and so forth. And that's it. That's it. You know what I mean? I don't know what more I can say other than that. But, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, without further delay, once again, as, promised, because, I've been getting a lot of people emailing me, contacting me and saying, Kim, dude, we need to have more guests, because I want to see and hear more content. And, not to say that what you do isn't bad, because it's not, but could you just bring, more people in your podcast and, kind of get a variety? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you sent out the SOS. I got the emails, I got the smoke signals. Hell, I even got paper planes thrown at me with a message on the plane telling me to bring more guests. And you know what? You guys got it. You got it. So, I'm here to announce that we do have a great guest here today. I've known this man for a very, very long time. We have come up together around growing up in the Annapolis, Maryland area. We came up from the same karate school together, which, that's eternal. Black belt brothers, you can never erase that. That bond is there for life. He is a content creator, and he has a website called thinktheexcellentthought.com, which in that website you can actually find out some of his YouTube's content that he has crossed into it. So that's pretty cool. He also has a book. It's called Beneath the Ice, Poems from the Deepest, that you can get on Amazon Prime. So, go ahead and support your local artists, because, we do that. And like I said, this man at a 3rd degree black belt, I feel like, he can go all the way, even more so, but, let's celebrate the man, the myth, the legend, right here for the one time in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live from an undisclosed location. Omar J. Richter, a.k.a. OZ, is in the hizzy. What's going on, big time?
Oh, Kim, man, thanks for having me here, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm really loving the energy that you've got, and I appreciate the introduction.
Yeah.
And I'll try to live up to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, like I said, we've known each other for like a very, very long time. It almost feels like it's like we knew each other like biblically. You know what I mean? Since like the beginning of time.
Yeah, it is like that when you have people that come into your life and then they interweave with your life's tapestry.
Right.
They come and they go, but at certain special times that there's really something beautiful that's being created. That's kind of what our friendship is like. Yeah,
no doubt, man. Well, first off, I mean, how have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, man, I've been fantastic. I have been fantastic. Life is blessing me unparalleled. man.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful wife, 4 children, 4 sons. And that, of course, says enough for you to know I'm busy as all get out.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so I'm also running a construction company.
Right.
And that's pretty cool, doing home renovations and stuff like that. But we wanted to try to enter the space, the internet online space, with something positive, some positive content. It seemed like so much content and not that much of it is super positive.
Right.
So that's began our little journey towards wanting to put positive content, but we didn't really have a whole bunch of experience.
Okay.
And so, we just kind of started to try to chip away at the feeling of what is it that we want to create? What kind of content will we create?
Right.
And stuff like that. And so that's been what's occupying our time. And then the book that you mentioned is a result of us studying up, trying to become better people, pursuing self-knowledge.
Yep.
And listening to a lot of awesome podcasts such as your own, where the guest brings on, people, and they just expose you to new information, new ideas, new things that can make your life better. And so one of those such things was the ice plunge, which came into my life through a gentleman called Wim Hof. And he is an amazing person. You have to do a whole podcast just to tell people about that guy.
Right.
But ultimately, he advocates his Wim Hof method, which is slow, gradual cold exposure, moving towards extreme cold exposure and breath work.
Right.
And a third pillar of commitment, to where as though give it a little bit of a fair chance. And somehow, in doing these cold exposures and these cold plunges, it started making us feel a real desire to share the discipline.
Yep.
And then in filming it and stuff, it then became the content that we were like, oh, this is what we're going to share, this fun, radical experience, and show people the discipline, show people how it's bringing us together.
Right.
And so that's been a lot of what we've been doing as well. And then all these poems started coming out, Kim. Now, I'm a songwriter and a rapper, so I've like written rhyming words plenty in my life.
Yep.
But the type of poetry that started to want to come out through me was just really a feeling of healing of trauma and a letting go of suffering and a bit of that rebirth experience. So it's interesting that you just say our friendship is almost biblical, because I feel like the story of the Christ is the story of every man almost.
Yeah.
And the arcing story that is in the Bible and the characters in the Bible, the biblical stories, if you will,
Right.
allegorical stories, they oftentimes resonate with us in this day and age, right here, right now,
Right.
in the way that things occur. And so it was very divinely brought into my life, because it's not easy to jump into the ice.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you mentioned, we're black belts, so we've done some stuff that's not easy in our life. And so then it becomes me versus myself, facing my own will. And so then, boom, started to do that. And then all this poetry started flowing, and then eventually we're like, we got to make a book. And then that becomes our passion project, which the book just came out April of this year.
Oh, nice.
So it's, it's hot off the press.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Well, let's start out from the beginning, because I always like to, when I have my guests, in studio guests here, we always got to start from the genesis of things. I mean, now you grew up, a Maryland boy, born and raised, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, I was born in Miami, Florida, but my parents weren't there for long. So I was up in Maryland by like 6 or 7 years of age, and this is my hometown,
Right on.
Naptown.
Naptown. Yeah, Naptown represent.
Sidelines of D-ville.
A-Town, stay down, baby.
Yeah, right.
That's right. What were you like, growing up, back in the day as a kid? Like, were you an athletic kid? Were you like a musical kid? Were you like always like an artsy kind of kid, like, doing painting or stuff like that? What was the OZ like?
Well, I want to say was a bit introverted and kind of shy.
Right.
But also had a pretty competitive kind of mindset. My older brother Sam is 4 years older than me.
Right.
Super talented at like everything he tries. So he constantly was like pulling me to play up, and I think it was mostly in my world that I was trying to keep up with him. And so I think I was just kind of compelled to want to always play up,
Yeah.
And so my roots are the roots of nature, man. I really just like being outside. I'm a Pisces, so I like the experience of just life itself.
Yeah.
So then that kind of makes me like, I'm a little bit shy, but then if there's a competition and I'm pretty good at it, then this is a little bit of an outlet for me to start to feel confident,
Right.
you know, to like do good at something.
Right.
So then we got into sports. My father has multiple children, and we were all running around doing different sports, so baseball, basketball, and then enters karate, which entered for me, I think, because I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know. Like a lot of us wanted to be ninjas after that. But also, when I asked my mom about it, I think she realized there might be some benefit for my like temper, you know, at that time.
Yep.
So we're talking like 11 years of age, 12 years of age kind of thing.
Yep.
When I started martial arts. And so then martial arts became a dominating thing in my life.
Yep.
And super beneficial. I could sit here for an hour and just talk about all the benefits that the martial arts has had in my life, obviously. So it helped soothe my inner soul.
Yep.
It helped me give an outlet for my physicality as a young man growing up, and implanted so many positive disciplines that I take for granted now, that I realize, oh man, I owe this level of ability to sit still,
Yep.
this ability to listen,
Yep.
this ability to control my body, like so many things, balance, reflexes, flexibility, stuff that's stood with me as things that have helped me for my whole life. So
Now, when did you start discovering, like, at what age did you discover, like, your creative side? And, like, what was, like, the you know, the main ingredient of that? Like, did you just start being creative, like, at age 7 through, like, you know, music or through poetry? I mean, what was the one thing that set it off for you?
well, I'm going to say music is what really set it off, that creative side.
Mhm.
So martial arts came in just a smidge after music, but music came in, and yeah, that started my creative expressions.
Yep.
And that was when my grandmother passed away. My father wrote a song called Peace and Love, and this is speeding up the story, of course, but we went for the celebration of life ceremony, and he had a family song that they had all played together as kids. It was like 2 chords on the piano, and he taught me. So I knew I was going to play that, Only a Shadow, with him, but then he was going to play his new song, Peace and Love, an original song. And, you know, while we were sitting there waiting for a few days for the services and stuff, because we went on a family visit,
Yep.
maybe we got bored of the 2 chords I was playing. Maybe I said, do you want to teach me your other song? Maybe he said, do you want to learn this other song I'm going to play?
Right.
But he taught me a couple of chords, and I was shy and nervous, as I mentioned before. But then in the actual real-time moment when we finished the one song, and my mom and my brothers and sisters all were going to, like, leave the little, you know, front area and go back to the pews where everybody was sitting, I had a weird feeling I didn't want my dad to be alone. So I just stayed at the piano, and I ended up, like, getting over the stage fright thing and playing a few more chords with that song, Peace and Love.
Right.
Boom, that was it.
Nice.
After that, I could not stop playing piano, and I'm 100% self-taught as a musician, but my dad is the inspiration through his mom. So we joke that she gave me the gift of music a little bit, you know, and she left out.
Yeah.
Because everybody in his family was, like, musical, not necessarily like strong players, but everybody was doing music.
Right.
And so yeah, then music is that outlet for me, where words that rhyme and creative writing come together, and I start having a real outlet for my experience of emotion.
Yeah. Now, you've been through, like, a lot in terms of, like, musically. You've been through, like, a lot of musical acts and groups and so forth. Obviously, you had, you had something going on with your family, you know, musically. I think it was called the Richter scale.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. The family band.
Yeah, the family band. That's right. I remember that.
So I'm one of 7, so by the time you have my mom and dad and 7 children, there's plenty of people playing plenty of instruments.
Right on.
So yeah, I got started doing the family band, and then started writing my own original music, and me and my 2 brothers branched off into doing our own band, hip-hop kind of rock band thing. And then fast forwarding multiple different projects and stuff, then when I actually met my wife Megan at a musical venue, an open mic, and she plays music also. So then we made a CD together also. A bunch of different projects.
Yeah, no, I
in the world of music.
I remember it because, like, you know, you had the Richter scale. At one point, you were in a band with one of our other own fellow karate brethren in Josh Birch Rockio, 44 Pound.
Correct.
I remember that because
Correct.
Rocco was in there too, I think.
No, Sam.
Oh, Sam was in. Sam was in. Okay. Oh no, because let me see. Josh was playing the drums.
Yep.
And then Ant was another vocalist.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. And I remember I saw like a couple of couple of local shows that you guys did together, and I thought that was pretty good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that project? It just went to a situation where like you guys just said, this is as good as it's going to get, and we're just going to go like a different creative way of life, or what happened?
Well, that band was going pretty strong, and then there was some, like a little bit of time off, a couple weeks, and then there were just some interests in maybe bringing on a new player, and then I don't know, it kind of just dispersed, like the momentum on it. The momentum on the project kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting, I guess, those phases of kids growing up, they go through their phases of growing up. So whether it's like off to college sometimes is the reason, or significant others coming into play and taking over people's time and attention. So
right.
Yeah, that was just a little bit how it was,
Being a songwriter, what is your process when it comes to actually creating a song? Like, walk us through your own personal process of actually creating a song and getting it done.
Man, that's a great question. I have to think about it for just a second. What is the process? Oftentimes it's late at night. I haven't written that many new songs recently because it seems like a lot of my creative writing and expressions have wanted to come through the poetry. And so, but interestingly, my children, my oldest is 15, will be 16 soon. My next one down is 14. And they're really interested in writing songs. And because of the day and age we're in, they can look up how to write a good song and, this kind of thing. Versus for me, my songwriting process is always a little more organic.
Yeah.
So I'm like putting my fingers on the piano and I'm playing around until I hear something cool. And then I repeat it, and then I like it, and then I find something else that sounds cool with it.
Right.
And then pretty much it would be like that. Some beautiful music that started to move me, and then whatever words seemed to be appropriate with that music is a bit of my general songwriting process. And just feeling my way through the music, because I don't have a lot of training. I'm actually, just like I mentioned, self-taught, so I don't revert back to a whole lot of theory or techniques for like where should this go? Where is it musically structured to go to the correct place? I just let it guide me, let the way that it feels guide me through the song.
I mean, do you consider yourself more like do you classify yourself of having like a specific genre of like, I'm a rapper, or do you just call yourself more like a musician in general?
Yeah, I think I just feel like a musician because I play guitar a little bit. I play piano primarily. I play drums a little bit. And I do all kinds of vocal activity, beatboxing, rapping, rhyming, singing, all that. So I don't necessarily feel like I'm a certain style. I just am a creative person, and yes, I love music, and so I'll let whatever the vibe is come right on through. So we might get hyped, or we might just get mellow and feel the sentiment of life, whatever's the right thing.
Do you feel like, as a musician, and let me just use this analogy, do you feel like you're the Bruce Lee of like musicians, just like grabbing every single style and then making it like the one style of your own?
I love that analogy, and I would love to take yeah, for sure I feel that way. But I don't know if I actually take all the styles. I think I'm a little bit too picky about which particular styles I'll choose from.
Right.
Bruce was pretty much like anything goes.
Yeah.
And I suppose in the right setting anything could go, but I'm a little bit picky about music and sounds and tones and the influence on others.
Yeah.
I really don't want to make anything that's like violent or aggressive in its undertone. So, you know what I mean? I suppose if it's really what the vibe called for or the crowd called for, that could be fine. But generally, I tend to want to be on that inspired. Let's stay positive,
Yeah.
peaceful,
Of course.
loving, and so of course, yes, high energy is one of those beautiful things. But yeah, so I'll steer clear just a little bit of too much heavy
I can dig it. I can-
heavy energy on
Heavy
it.
energy, that's
yeah, heavy
right.
energy for sure.
Now, this is something that I do ask every now and then to people that are musicians in general. When it comes to you being a musician and your musicianship and you being a creative person that you are in the music game, what are your philosophies in the world of music and in the world of music creativity?
You need to be authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to come from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You need to think that what you're putting out is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And as one of my mentors says, you just need to create what you think should exist in the world, and then have the courage to follow through with that. So I think that's really, I agree with that.
Nice. What are your musical influences? If you can name some, or just
I
like
100% can, for sure. There's a few like super major ones, and then because I love music, it's so many people, and I'm the type of person that it seems like if I listen to a record or find something that I like musically that inspires me, I will just listen to it over and over and over and over and over again until it runs out of juice for me.
Yeah.
So as long as it's getting me juiced up, I'll just stay with that band, that record, or that song for weeks or even months, just one song, boom, you know? So when I was younger, it was first Will Smith,
Mhm.
because he was a clean rapper that was super impressive and I loved it.
Right.
And then was Eminem,
Eminem.
who's a super not clean rapper, and I loved it.
Right.
You know, because it just gave me like some kind of an outlet for being. I'm not really that kind of person, but it was like fun to get that, you know, that energy off my chest at that time.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I'm more particular now about the type of energy I want, you know, within the music,
For sure.
but also the lyrical skill. Like it was an undeniable, you know, this is going to make you better if you want to be a lyricist, if you listen to this person, because just observing the best of the best is part of that.
Yeah.
How we can, you know, grow and aspire to that. So those two in the very beginning, and then Josh, my buddy who you mentioned, super close friend, introduced me to rock, you know, pop rock music like Chili Peppers, 311, Incubus.
Yes.
You know, some of these
Yes.
phenomenal bands that are, some of them still going to this day.
Yes.
And put out record after record, you know, in our younger days of just incredible music with dope bass lines and amazing guitar and amazing drummers, and every player in the band being a hugely talented musician. And so
Right.
those couple of rock bands and those couple of hip hop things like majorly influenced. And then as I got a little bit older, got majorly into the hip hop scene of Nas and Mos Def and Outkast, and you know, just amazing hip hop in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff.
Yeah.
And then fast forwarding to now, I really enjoyed a lot of the new, like, you know, East Coast reggae on the rise up a little bit.
Yep.
Where it's just like a real nice, organic, fun feeling, a lot of instrumentations, and just a real nice positive vibe. And the lyrics don't really hold very much profanity, so I'm always happy to throw on some stick figure and just know that every song that's going to come up on the playlist is going to be non-offensive
Right.
for my children that are all running around and stuff. So
Yeah.
I really do enjoy like the reggae rap, reggae rock kind of vibe
Right on.
right now. And then my main influence, who is like a mentor influence musically, is my man Mike Posner. So I don't know if you've kept up with his journey, but he's just been inspiring me a lot lately. He did a couple of huge feats within like the past 5 years that I've been doing the ice plunges. His personal journey has led him to walk across America as well as climb Mount Everest, and then, you know, live to tell the tale.
Yep.
But he's also you know, some could say really widely famous musician, but he had the Cooler Than Me track that came out when we were a lot younger, and then kind of disappeared off the map to mainstream, and kind of had a spiritual journey, which
Yep.
is, so his spiritual journey of awakening is where our paths cross again, because I'm on my own spiritual journey of awakening. And so then now his new music he's putting out, I really am a huge fan of.
Yep.
So his most recent song, Beautiful Day, has been inspiring us a lot. And so, yeah, I'm really appreciative of where he's taking his music, because he was kind of like a hip-hop pop singer, and now it's going to a little bit more storytelling, real well-rounded expression of creativity, which is like what we're talking about, how music can really do that, can bring lots of the feelings to life.
Right. Let's transition
Man.
from the musical arts to the martial arts.
Beautiful.
No secret, you've been studying, martial arts, Taekwondo for many, many, many years. You came up at a time that, basically you were one of the very few in our school's history where you literally, the whole family, the whole clan were students of the karate school.
That's right. It was amazing. I asked my mom, could I go to karate? She said, if you look it up and, you find where to take us. And that she thought would make it a no, because I was really shy. It was like a big deal to open up the phone book. So AMAC is right up at the A's. So it was like the
AMAC,
first.
well, that must mean that's an A+ school.
It was the first karate thing that came up.
Right.
You wouldn't think you'd find karate under A, but that just lets you know I was young and I found it. We called it up. They had 3 free classes, so that sounded great for a big family.
Yeah.
And if I'm not interested, then there's no real financial investment. But I got hooked. I got super hooked. I came home after my first class. The next class I took Rocco. He got hooked. The third class we took Ananda. She got hooked. The next class we took Shay. We were telling Sam, you got to come. Sam, he was like a little bit older, so he wasn't interested at first. But then when he came, he got hooked. And then we were all white belts, all 5 of us. And then when we tested for yellow belt, then, I lost my rank. And Sam got to be the highest rank because he was the oldest bro.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. And then eventually my mother and father both joined as well, because Mr. Johnson gave us such a sweet family plan for the whole family to come in and train together, and allowed mom and dad to be with the kids.
Yeah.
And we were there for a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And it was a family, man. It was the martial arts is a big extended family. AMAC is a family.
Explain to me and explain to the listening audience, coming up in the ranks before black belt, before first degree black belt, what was the journey and what was the training like for you? If you can remember it.
Yeah, I can remember it super clearly because I just loved it so much. I wanted to be in there as much as possible. So oftentimes my mom would, take us for the all belt class, and then we would sit and wait for whatever couple classes we couldn't attend, so we could take 2 classes per day. And that trajectory did not stop all the way to black belt. I wanted to be training all the time. I wanted to be in the dojang. We got tons of hours. Remember those hour cards?
Oh God,
Mr. Smith would be like, put the X and then the circle and then 2 more X's, and like you'd end up getting 4 or 5 hours in one day and stuff eventually when we were a little higher rank. But then we put in so many hours that Mr. Johnson skipped green belt and promoted us from yellow belt right to blue belt, all 5 of us collectively as a siblings group.
Right.
And so it was just amazingly fun to get into the advanced belt class that quickly.
Right.
You know what I mean? I fell in love with a lot of the black belts because these cats were my age, but super amazing and impressive, and had, power and discipline over their body. And it was like, definitely wanted to get there as fast as possible. And so then once we got into the advanced belt class, you know how it is, you get to start sparring and getting exposed to watching higher level students than you performing in the middle of the room, and you get called out of your insecurities and your embarrassments, and like I got turned into a cool person who could speak up for himself, and he felt confident, and a lot of that happened because of don't call me, and then you get called and you're like, oh man, and then you feel proud of yourself that you've been learning and you've got this discipline. It's called self-discipline for a reason, because power over self.
Correct. When it came to the time when you got the notification saying, "Hey, you want to be testing for first degree black belt," what was your reaction when you saw that notice?
I was super excited, feeling like it was going to be real. And also, in our school at that time, as you know, just one person alone made the decision. if
Yep.
you were ready for
Yep.
black belt.
Yep.
And so it did not matter if you had at that right amount of hours at that point. It did not matter if you felt you were ready. It was just a matter of time. It was
Yeah.
a matter of if Mr. Johnson gave you that feeling, and the way he gave you that feeling, he didn't even come and say anything, is your name got put on the list.
Yeah.
And so when, you know, it's like, and I also am homeschooled, so I never went to any classes at school where there was any tests of any kind where like results were posted or you're on a list or your name was ever on any kind of list. So maybe some people are like, I don't want to be on the list, but in that moment, as you know, it's like, I so badly want to be on that list.
Everybody wanted to be on that list.
You know what I mean? For sure. And then Mrs. Johnson would come out and she'd start putting up who's testing for yellow belt, who's testing for green belt.
Yep.
And you would just be like, you didn't even know if she had a paper at all that anybody was going to test for black belt.
Yep.
And so then all of a sudden when she tacks it up and your name's on there, you start feeling like the jubilee, and then also like, oh my gosh, you start feeling nervous, like you really have to do it.
How did you prepare for the first degree black belt test?
I think it was pretty much just repetition. We just had so many hours. There was never any real doubt of forgetting any material or anything like that at that point.
Mhm.
It was really an opportunity to show off everything we had learned.
Yeah.
You know, I think the most intimidating thing is the black belt speech.
Oh, jeez.
For the younger, you know, for the person, especially like me, you know, as I mentioned, a little bit kind of introverted, you know, on a personal level, I recharge, you know, in my own space.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And the concept of writing out a speech. So, you know, we progressed through the ranks pretty quickly. So I started at age 11, and it's, you know, 19 months later. So I'm still kind of nervous about my spelling. And I'm nervous about my writing.
Right.
I'm not like excelling in that way. And so I'm
Right.
wondering if I'm going to write anything good. And it was one of those things that was supposed to be hard.
Right.
And especially, like, it could be hard for an adult too, but maybe an adult's not as intimidated by writing out their journey or their feelings or whatever. But
Yeah.
for a person who's like, you know, 13 or 14, that's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
And so my mom didn't really, like, she wasn't going to help me with that. That was something I had to do.
Yeah, right.
Write this speech. So that was pretty much the hardest part of the black belt test, I think.
When you finally earned it, you know, the as many call the crowning achievement, that some normal people would say the end all be all. When you got promoted finally and you got that black belt around your waist, what were you thinking at that point?
I think at that point it was a very exclusive group of people that I thought very highly of, that I then got to be a part of. Because black belt class only happened once a week on Wednesday night.
Right.
And I had to leave the building every Wednesday night. And some of my friends were just showing up. Some of the black belts would only come for one class a week, and it was that class.
Yeah.
So I would have been there all week long, and then finally see one of my friends, and then I have to leave, you know, because I'm not a black belt.
Yeah.
So it is a huge accomplishment, undoubtedly, no matter how old you are, no matter what is the school. If you go from, you know, white belt, a no belt, to a white belt and through the ranks to achieve the black belt, there's something that you did that's amazing. But the way for a younger person, for me specifically, that it felt to be in that group, I mean, we're talking Amos and Andrew and Mike and Chris and you and Nick Goodmalloy, and I mean, these guys were the coolest people in the world to me, you know.
Yeah.
And then they one by one shook my hand and punched me in the chest and said, "Welcome," and you're like, "You're one of us now." Kind of. It was really a fantastic expression of a traditional ritual kind of experience of, you know, coming of age and all that. So. It was beautiful, dude. It really was. It was a very fantastic, special memory for me.
No, for sure, absolutely. But now that you were a black belt, like, what were the challenges coming up as you were actually increasing your knowledge and your repertoire and your growth, you know, during the degree process?
Yeah. I think two big things. One big thing was teaching. It became time to give back. To shift roles from being a top student to being a top teacher, you know?
Yep.
Of course, you become one by being good at the other, meaning you become a good teacher by being a good student.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was that, getting called to the front of the room, and your whole experience of your training is a little bit like back burner, and you're now helping other people with their training, and you're critiquing them, and you're giving of self to others, which is each one teach one. It's part of the way that the traditional art is kept alive.
Right.
And so that was one thing, and the second thing was the tournament circuit.
Oh,
all of a sudden, if you want to level up, you need to go to the tournament.
Tournaments, that's right.
You need to get some tournament experience, and then that's like fighting other kids who like act like they want to hurt you. You know what I mean? You're fighting people at your own school. They're your friends. They're still kind of sort of like, it's all cool at the end of the day. You're not trying to hurt each other, but you go out to the tournament circuit, and you see people that are, they seem like they want to kick your head off. You know, so that was pretty intimidating for me.
Yeah.
But it turns out that I'm quick enough. I didn't get hit that much.
Yeah, pretty
I was
much.
able to get through some tournaments and do well and have that experience. And but those were the two main things. After black belt was like, because it surely was not an ending for me. It was a beginning, a new beginning.
Right.
And the beginning of the journey was get out of your comfort zone and go to the tournament a little bit, and see where you fall with other people, other peers, you know, people that you're not comfortable with, and then also being an instructor and giving back. And of course, that's how you stay up on all your material and you really lock it into your memory the way you want it, is just teach it over and over. So
two things. You, out of your family, were probably the only one that reached the higher pinnacle, meaning you reached 3rd degree black belt. That is like literally like that. You know, a lot of people can say, "Hey, I earned a 1st degree black belt." You know, it's like as common as drinking water. And then all of a sudden, you know, you earn a 2nd degree black belt. Oh, well, now, you know, now it's like saying like, oh, well, you know, that's just as easy as playing this video game and I beat it. But to say that you got the 3rd degree black belt, you basically put yourself in the upper echelon of students that actually earned that high prestige rank, especially in our school's history. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Did you ever think out of your family that you were going to be the one to get that first?
I can honestly say yeah.
Okay.
You know, because I was the first one who was interested, and I have that pursuit of excellence in a different kind of way, that drive. There was a lot of days that my siblings didn't want to go to karate that I'm like, I still want to go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so what I can say is that I didn't necessarily think I would have made it all the way to 3rd degree in the beginning, because it takes a long time to stay with it, to earn a degree.
Yep.
And as it was, Mr. Smith was a 3rd degree when I started, and that's an unattainable thing. Yep. To achieve the ranking of your instructor. It was just like, that's not going to happen. So we saw a few people get 2nd degrees. It was amazing, got their name on their belt, and that was like, when you talk about an exclusive club you wanted to get into,
hell yeah,
that's the one, right?
That's right, yeah.
But then, like you say, you know, having your instructor be 3rd degree, so then we got to test together, which was one of my outstanding memories of martial arts, where it was a more consistent part of my life. And Mr. Smith tested for his 4th degree.
Yeah.
The day I tested for my 3rd degree.
Yeah.
And we were partners, you know, and so that was a really beautiful, like you say, a pinnacle achievement, to be toe for toe with my instructor.
Yep.
And him who has held me accountable, my whole career, then make sure I'm able to achieve his rank.
Yep.
While he's achieving his next rank.
That's right.
And it was amazing. You know, that was definitely amazing. And once I was on, like we mentioned, the tournament circuit and the instructing, I actually, you know, I became an instructor at the studio.
Yep.
I was employed there. I was instructing a lot of hours. And as you know, we hit that tournament circuit pretty hard.
Heck yeah, we did.
With a lot of students, with a lot of great results. And so that was a beautiful, wonderful time. But during that, I think I knew I wasn't finished. Mm-hmm. And the 3rd degree experience definitely gave a certain amount of closure, so that I could, you know, shift gears into different things I wanted to be involved in. But what I want to say now It's congratulations to you, my friend, Kim, my brother, because in the past couple years where we haven't been as united, you've been training and not giving it up, not setting the torch down.
Right.
And I heard when we just linked up a couple days ago, really, reconnected a couple days ago, because there's an event that's coming up you were inviting me to. Remember, we're going to talk the details about that later. But
Yep.
you told me your boy got 3rd degree, and I'm like, Kim, congratulations, man, because you're sitting here humble and speaking about the plateau that is, the accomplishment that it is, and man, you have done it for yourself.
Yeah.
So, man, it can't be overstated, dude. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. We've been on the journey of life together, and some things are harder than others.
Yep.
So you and I share the understanding of how difficult it is to train to the level that it is required to pass the 3rd degree black belt test.
For sure.
And so, man, congratulations, Kim.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. But you also, we have to acknowledge this. You belong to another exclusive club where, as an adult, you're a grand champion in men's sparring, because Arden Smith got it, years ago, being the Maryland State USTU Taekwondo champion in sparring. Little Amos got grand championship in Pittsburgh. You got grand championship in Hanover, Pennsylvania. And I was there because I remember, guys, let me just tell you this. If you're going to go ahead and compete as a martial artist, especially in sparring, number one, just go with respect. You know what I mean? Don't do any crazy stuff. And 2, fight your fight. 3, when you're done, bow out and leave it out of the ring. One of Omar's opponents, I kid you not, I don't know what this kid was on, decided that he was going to go ahead and spar Omar. He thought he got a couple of, his good chess pieces in there. He probably got maybe like 2 pawns or something like that. And then all of a sudden, he just looked at Omar and just gave him he kissed him, air kissed him. And at that point, I was like, oh no. Here we go again. Omar's like, okay, yeah, watch the next 3 moves. It's going to be over quick. And you ended it quick, literally in 30 seconds after that. That boy got the butt whooping of his life. He learned that day. And soon enough, it's just like when that happened and we saw the rest of the fights going on to the grand championship, without a shadow of a doubt, we just knew at that point, it's like, man, Omar this day is the stronger chess player. He understood it, and he played it a lot better than all the other people that tried to compete against him. Do you remember that day?
I remember that day. The reason that day was so special to me, Kim, is before, during, and after. It's part of where our brotherhood is formed.
Yep.
The ride out there.
Yep.
Because you got to get up early so you can drive, the whole distance before the tournament. And, the experience of the hotel room, and me and you and Brian and Amos and J Rock, and just the bonding experience and everything like that.
Yep.
And then, of course, yes, to be able to be fortunate enough to perform well, and to win the grand champion and be one of few people who did it in the school.
Yep.
At that time, Mr. Johnson's son, little Amos, was the only other person who had accomplished that.
Yeah.
So that was a really beautiful opportunity to represent the school, because pretty much it's all because of Mr. Smith and Mr. Johnson.
Yep.
And how many hours they poured into us.
Yep.
Of their care and their respect and everything for us as people. So I'm honored, man. I'm honored. That's what's happening in my life. I look back at it and I'm saying I was honored. I was blessed. I was taken under so many great instructors' wings, and people have been looking out for me and helping me my whole entire life.
Yeah. And now you're you're passing on the knowledge to the next generations, to your sons.
That's right. Well, that's part of the reason that we ended up getting back together. You hit me up about the event, and then it just seemed right for us to get together to try to do some training.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And part of the reason for that is because I have a couple of my sons who are interested in learning the art. And, as we mentioned, each one teach one.
Yep.
We want to teach it accurately. And so it was a real blessing to get together with you and do some training. And we're going to do some more of that too, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. But now we're going to go ahead and segue out of the martial arts and you being a content creator. Because, you first off, you gave me some great gifts here, which I got to thank you for that. That's incredible. And I'm holding the pen right now, and you have a website of thinktheexcellentthought.com.
Yes, sir.
Number one, how did you come up with the concept to make a website and create content of that nature? And when did it fully start to come together, and when did it actually debut?
Awesome questions. And when we began this conversation, I touched on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a feeling between me and Meg, my wife, that we wanted to add some positive content to the space.
Correct.
Of the internet.
Correct.
And there was also at that time an interesting thing that was happening with me regarding all the hours I was putting into the construction company, and then really a real feeling of like, maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else, and wanting to have a shift in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went down into my basement at my house one day, and all of a sudden I just started seeing all the stacks of my journals and all my music books. And I brought up a stack of like 10 or 15 books into the bedroom, and I said, Meg, I think I'm supposed to be a writer, And I just had all this material that I realized, all this creative writing from when I've been younger, and all this poetry and all these different things. And so then I wrote a short story.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Journey Home.
Right.
I haven't published that yet. But in writing that story, the person who I was working for started kind of mentoring me a little bit. She had co-authored a book,
right,
and was very supportive of, write it, get it out. I'll read it. And she would mark a little question mark, or she would say, maybe you could embellish on this, or, you know what I mean? Then she was helping me edit it a little.
Right.
We had a second draft, third draft, fourth draft. And then this Wim Hof method kind of comes into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm over here kind of thinking I'm writing this book, and then we're not really sure what kind of content we're going to create, but we're like, we should have a website.
Yeah.
And then it kind of strikes me, this concept of I want to honor the generation above me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we realized we did 3 majorly different alternative decisions as like a couple with our family.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was home birthing the children. My parents did that.
Yeah.
One of them was homeschooling the children, which
Right.
my parents did that.
Right.
And the third one is homeopathy, which they're all H's: homeschooling, home birthing, and homeopathy. They all begin with the word home. And we said, we can build on this.
Yep.
We can build off the fact that we were nurtured with these really empowering decisions at a time when none of them were as well received. And they really turned out me and my siblings, as it were, to be, good people, healthy, strong, and happy people.
Yep.
So that's basically what we did. We started the website, and we got those 3 main categories, and we just started like on Wix, build your own website thing.
Yep.
Just started putting it together. As I mentioned, we didn't have any experience with like shooting videos or what kind of content we would want to do.
Right.
Equipment, etc.
Right.
So, but we just kind of sort of like say, let's build a website, and then we'll have the website. So there was a little lull there where the website existed. It's like we wanted to get the name, whatever. And then Wim Hof method came into our lives. We started doing the plunges, and then we started filming the plunges. We just felt the need to film them. And then at some point, we started making this little compilation video of the plunges, and it just struck me. I started asking Meg, how are you doing that? How are you getting that effect? How are you making the words come in and out, or the music? And so she just started, it's a little editing program, and she started showing me some things. And then it was kind of like playing the piano. Like I just started to have all kinds of creative ideas of stuff I wanted to do.
Right.
Then like everywhere I'd go, every beautiful sky, I wanted to take a picture, any cool thing in nature. And it started giving me an outlet for my creative expressions of just like seeking the joy of nature and combining it. So then we just kind of started playing around with this editing program, and we're like, just started kind of finding a little vibe on how we wanted to make our videos. Well, then meanwhile, my writing took a different twist, because I started writing these essays. And it would just strike me, Kim. I wouldn't know what I was going to be writing. And next thing you know, I'd be like frantically scribbling all this stuff.
Yep.
Da-da-da-da-da-da, until finally, boom, I'm done. It's like 3-4 pages, whatever. And I could hardly remember what I was even writing. Then I would go back and read it, and it was like really thematic. It was like just little beautiful essays.
Yep.
So then we had a cool idea to try to like film me reading them. And then that was like a little breakthrough for us in our creative content.
Yep.
To have me read something that I had written, have Meg kind of film it, and then put some kind of cool music over it.
Right.
And so then we had like this digital essay thing.
Right.
Which is still in the works and stuff. These are kind of like, teaser, spoiler alerts, whatever, what's coming.
Right.
Because you know how it is, you have really an idea, like a seed,
Right.
and then it takes a lot of nurturing before you get the fruit from the seed.
Nice.
So here we are in the process of nurturing the original idea. And so in that process, we've been doing the plunges and posting those videos, and then in between, anything else that's something amazing. So at Imagine Excellence, we say we like to share stories, share life.
Yep.
So that's really what we want to do. So gardening, we've been sharing about our gardening experience with the kids. Homeschooling, we've been sharing about that.
Right.
Meg has a beautiful blog that I want her to do even more work on it, but the ones that she's put out, they're just amazing.
Yep.
So her blog is on our website as well, and because of the experiences with the kids, so much valuable stuff for other parents. And so we really just wanted to start there.
Yeah.
With making sure that everybody is empowered to make the same decisions we were: homeschooling, home birthing, and homeopathy, so you can keep your wellness and your strength and your happiness
Together.
together and have sovereignty over it. Don't feel helpless or victimized when something goes wrong with your children, that you have empowered decisions and people in the community can help you feel
Right.
and heal. So that's that. And now we're pretty much just getting ready to do absolutely more. It turns out the first book that hit Amazon is Beneath the Ice, Poems from the Deepest. And but I have about 6 children's books I think are pretty cool, as well as the essays, as well as the short story.
Right.
We got lots of material we want to put out. And then along the way, we're just going to keep sharing stories about everything creative that everybody's doing.
Let's talk a little bit about Beneath the Ice, Poems
Yeah.
from the Deepest. I mean,
Yes,
number
let's.
one, what are the general consensus of reactions when it came to this book? I mean, have you been getting a lot of good feedback? Have you been getting a lot of good reviews about that? Or, have you heard any good, energy or vibes when it comes to this?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it turns out that there's a lot more poetry lovers out there than we realized. When my son started writing poetry last year, he came across a website called All Poetry.
Yep.
And it's the largest platform for poetry online. And got involved as well because he was like, Dad, you got to put your poetry on here. And that was a huge springboard because we actually published the book through All Poetry. They helped compile the work. My man Kevin helped me do all the editing and stuff, and Meg, of course, did a bunch as well.
Right.
Back and forth and back and forth. But then, since it's out, my family's been super inspired by it, as well as colleagues people I've worked for.
Yep.
That maybe never saw me as anything outside of kind of a carpenter or a handyman, and
Right.
then I expose this other side of myself, and they're impressed, and it's touching them. And we did a couple events at the libraries, local libraries, and I was available to sign the book as well as read a few poems.
Yep.
And we demonstrated the ice plunge, which on the cover of the book there you see me in the ice.
Yeah,
because-
you're knee deep in there, bro.
yeah, because it's not a joke, and it's a special place.
Yeah.
Being in the ice is a special place, and my favorite thing is, I go under the ice all the way at the end, so I'm completely under the ice, and there's a stillness and a peace that's indescribable in that space, and so that's the place I call the deepest, where the poems come from.
When you actually go into an ice bath to take that plunge, what are your thoughts going into it? What are your thoughts going out of it?
Well, the thoughts are a little bit different now going into it because I do have experience under my belt, which is exciting.
Right.
But I can say that it still does some stuff in my stomach, and especially as the weather's getting colder, it's man, I was supposed to get an ice plunge today. I came here to be with you. I'm like, sweet, I got an excuse, but of course I'll get back in on the next day. But I feel like excited to battle myself, I guess. You know, maybe like the martial arts thing and pushing ourselves has gotten that embedded in me. I want to continue to push at myself,
right,
see what's in there, draw more greatness out, that kind of thing. And so there's a little of a feeling of, all right, cool, I get to say I did this.
Right.
This is a hard thing to do, and not everybody can say that they did it.
Right.
But all that is kind of BS in your mind, because it's just like you're stalling.
Yeah.
It's really just once you get in, then when you get out, then you get the the afterglow and that feeling of satisfaction. And then there's a lot of chemical stuff. There's science behind it,
Yeah.
So there's chemicals that are happening, and norepinephrine and cortisol, and lowering, and serotonin release, and just dopamine spikes, all the good stuff happens. And when you get out, like after we feel when we train, or after we feel when we do some working out and stuff, you feel accomplished, you feel a sense of power inside of yourself. And so that's the coming out feeling, is that feeling of real power. And the going in feeling, like I say, with experience, I can kind of like be excited about it, that I'm going to get that feeling of power afterwards. But in the beginning, a little bit more, it's pretty much nervousness, nervousness, not real physical fear like you're looking at a spider or a snake, or like over the edge of a tall cliff or something. Not quite that like visceral physical fear, but still like a in your stomach nervousness, like a sitting waiting for an MVA appointment or something, feeling like, man, why do I gotta do this? Why are you gonna do this?
Right.
You really gonna do this? And then you say, yeah, man, I'm gonna do this. But it's a beautiful experience.
I can't wait to actually open this book and read it, because now I'm very it's like the curiosity is there. Beautiful. And I'm just like, dude, I like stuff like poetry and things of that nature, or spoken word and stuff like that. So this is definitely going to be in the alley.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? So I'm really excited
and
for
the
that.
Story of me coming to the ices in the introduction starts off with a letter to Wim Hof, and it's my ability to share with him my gratitude, as well as just kind of tell the reader the story. So, facts, little bits of it that we didn't cover today, you'll get in the book.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You'll get in the book.
Do you think that, and I just thought about this question, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think that, with your wife, Megan, that she is like probably the main source, or if not the main source, then a very good ingredient of, your inspiration to creativity?
Yes. The super short answer is yes, and the slightly long answer is wow, yes. Because we've made our children together out of the inspiration and the love that we had, but we connected on music, and we connected on spirituality, and we connected on family, and we have a lot of actual things in common. And so then when that spark happens, super inspired by her and her strength and what she's demonstrated through being a mom,
right,
and growing the children, and going through the births and everything like that. So like I said, we did home births. I actually caught my third son. It was a unassisted delivery. So it was just me and her, and I caught Ocean Ray when he came out. And that was a very powerful experience as well. That is rare, it's rare to have that experience.
So let's go through for the viewers or the listeners that are listening right now. You have 4 boys. Name them all chronologically from oldest to youngest.
My oldest son is Freedom Mars Dayami. My second son is Elon Victorious Kal-El. My third son is Ocean Ray Justice, and my fourth son is Sage Peace.
How old are they from oldest to youngest?
Freedom is 15. He'll be 16 later this month, so we could say he's 16. And then Elon is 14.
Okay.
And Ocean is 12, and Sage is 8. My big hero, 8.
Wow, man. All right. I ain't mad at that, bro. I'm not mad at that. The fact that you have children that are healthy, that are strong, that are doing their thing and exploring life and exploring a lot of avenues, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great tradition here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience where I have every in-person guest, or, sometimes we do Zoom guests for those that are like, out of the state and out of the country and so forth. We have a tradition where we have our guests take on a special challenge that everybody knows. It's called the Rapid Fire Challenge. Now, this is how it's going to work down. I'm going to ask a series of questions. It could be true, false. It could be multiple choice. They could be fill in the blank. They could be a realistic kind of a question. It could be very, imaginary. Insert, hey, I'm a big nerd. What if, Superman was fighting Mighty Mouse? Who would win? We're going to ask those type of questions.
I love it.
And we're going to go ahead and put, Omar right here through the ringer, and he's in one corner. And the other corner of the boxing ring are going to be the questions for the rapid fire.
Okay.
So, Omar, are you ready for the rapid fire challenge?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Got my hands up.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, just remember, protect yourself at all times. Keep your hands up so that you don't get hit. And if you get hit, just how to block. You know what I mean? So here we go. Without any further delay, Omar J versus the Rapid Fire Challenge here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Here we go. Between the primary colors of yellow, blue, and red, your favorite color is?
Blue.
Nice. Are you more of a beach man or are you more of an outdoors mountain man?
That's really tough. I'm going to go for the mountain.
Wow. Why?
Because sunburn at the beach, man. I'm beached out. I've been to the beach a lot. I love the beach. I love shell hunting on the beach. But now in life, I'm going for the mountains.
In your lifetime, where was like the most amazing place that you ever visited?
That's a great question. I haven't been to that many places, Kim. So obviously this isn't very rapid. I'm going to have to say Malibu, California with my family.
Okay. Yeah. No. Malibu, California, that's cool. That's acceptable.
We saw some really amazing sand dunes.
Nice.
Right. I just said mountain over beach.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that this trip we took was when we were a family, and there was some huge dunes, like 9-foot sand dunes. We were running up them. That was a really fun memory.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Here's a good one. Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Who's the greatest of all time?
Michael Jordan.
Yes. My dude. Yes.
The GOAT forever.
For anybody that says LeBron James, I'm not saying that I hate y'all. I respect your answer, but I have to question the selection.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna pick LeBron James over Michael? How dare you? That's blasphemous. That is blasphemous. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. If piano was not an option for you to play as a musical instrument, what's the next best thing?
Bass.
Really?
For me right now, yeah, I've been playing the bass and really enjoying the bass.
4-string or 6-string?
4-string.
Okay. Very good.
But I have a dream of playing the violin one day.
Oh.
I have a love affair that I said if I'm 50,
Okay.
I'm going to start playing the violin at 50.
Okay.
But then it's like, well, why wait? Just start now. But anyway.
Here's a very interesting question. If Omar today had to spar Omar from like years ago, who do you think would have won that one, and why?
The Omar of today would beat the Omar of yesterday. Yesterdays. Really? Because the Omar of yesterdays would just get one sidekick from the Omar of today and be like, I feel like that interesting thing where like your man body comes in, your muscle densification and stuff. Like I feel very powerful in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I think that I was super fast and, I was a good fighter back in the day. But I just feel like now I would just size up the match and just not have to exert nearly the same amount of energy to get the same results. So I'm going to vote on myself now.
Okay.
Versus the younger me.
Okay. Coming up in karate, when it came to sparring, who do you think was the one person that gave you the most run for your money? The more bang for your buck, that you're like, oh shoot, I didn't think it was going to go down like this. This is quite the challenge.
It was always challenging to spar Nick because he was so tall. It was always difficult to get a point on Nick. He's such a great defensive fighter.
Right.
Really difficult.
Okay.
To fight Nick.
What about little Amos?
I only got to spar him once or twice. I would probably have enjoyed sparring him more, but I didn't really get a chance as much. It was like mostly demo class. It was my chance to kind of like have little Amos be a part of my martial arts.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of that, mysterious instructor's son. Where is he? He'd come and go a little bit.
Right. But I mean, if you like, for anybody that don't know, if you had a chance to spar little Amos, you were in for a treat.
I mean, his legs are lightning, dude. I mean, it was like
that guy's mind when it comes to the chess game is unreal.
Yeah, his reach was reach with his legs was so far, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, amazing.
Yeah. Favorite tournament that you ever competed in? I'm
gonna say New York.
Okay.
Yeah, New York, when me and Ananda went, we were really young, and that was because it was like the first experience. It was really impactful, and I ended up placing second out of like 20-some kids in forms, and I pretty much thought I was going there to fight. I wasn't even as interested in forms, but it made me really feel like the forms mattered, and it was just as thrilling to perform the form as like the adventure in the ring and stuff. And also, it was just me and Ananda, so there was like some camaraderie there with my sister that was awesome on that particular tournament.
Nice.
I mean, the Hanover was the crowning achievement of all tournaments in some kind of way, so
for sure.
I figured you knew that was like already said.
When you hear the philosophy, patience and training develops character, what does that mean to you?
That means that what you're going to do, you're going to need to do it a lot in order to really develop what you want out of it.
Okay.
That's what that means. That means that the seed is just the beginning.
Nice.
I think.
If you saw another person that is a creative person like yourself, doesn't generally have to be like that person's like a musician or, a poet or whatever. But if you see that person of creativity and he asked you or she asked you for advice, what kind of advice would you give your fellow creative person?
Try to get out of your own way. Try to get out of the way of the insecurities that you feel. That you are going to be your worst critic. Right. That you're better than you think you are. Everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Right. And don't hold yourself back. Give yourself a chance.
Nice.
That's what I would say.
If you had to pick one person that you would like to spar right now, past or present, who would you have picked?
That I want to spar?
Yeah, that you would just say, like, let's say you went on a hot tub time machine back in the 1970s and you're like, I want to spar you. Who would you, or even like, somebody back in the early 2000s, who would you have called out?
Well, that's fun. I think probably someone like Andrew Keating.
Ooh.
Because he had hands of lightning. Like, if as fast as little Amos's legs were, Andrew's hands were really fast. And he's, again, a couple years older than me. So, in the class of trying to spar up and see if, if I'm as good as the bigger kids and stuff. Right. I would be like halfway intimidated and halfway like, I wonder how I would do. I didn't get to spar Andrew very much either.
Oh, geez.
He was one of those mysterious black belts that would come for a black belt class when I'm leaving for the day, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I recently reconnected with Andrew, and I think he became my friend because of the fact that, I was Mr. Johnson's friend and Mr. Smith's friend. So when he saw my name and stuff like that, and he saw a picture with I think it was with Mr. Johnson or whatever, he was like, oh crap, I think I know him. I think I remember him. And I'm like, I probably remember you when you were like a brown belt, but when I took that long hiatus and I wasn't training for a while, you were the one that was paving the way for me. You know what I mean? So glad that you remember me in some capacity. Everybody just in the school just kind of, they're like, oh, you're Hun and Huy's Dow's cousin. That's how they knew me. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's accurate.
What's cool is that, let's finish with your rapid fire and then I'll jump back on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll jump back to the thing that's cool.
For sure. Favorite kick that you like to throw?
Axe kick.
Oh, somehow I knew you were going to say that. I knew that somehow I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
You could drop an axe kick within a drop of a dime within without even thought. You're like, oh, just and it would land square on some person's face. God help them.
Well, that's what happened at Hanover.
Yeah. And then one time you actually landed that axe kick and knocked the dude's helmet off. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. If you ever had a chance to do a Richter scale reunion, would you ever do it?
Sure, and we kind of sort of do that a little bit with the kids playing music. My dad's still playing music.
Right.
We still kind of kumbaya a little bit.
Mm.
So yeah, I'd be open to that.
If your sons were here right now, what would you tell them? If you gave them a piece of advice.
Pay attention. Keep your awareness as open as you possibly can, because I would want them to be seeing the way you hooked your equipment up. I'd want them to be seeing how you're conducting yourself as an interviewer.
Right.
I'd want them to be observing how we're sitting up straight and respecting one another.
Yep.
I would really want them to be paying attention.
Yep.
Versus getting distracted by the cool, fun environment that we find ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think, there's always that opportunity for a dad to say, pay attention.
Yeah.
Stay focused.
Nice. A couple more questions. You get a letter in the mail saying, hey, we want to invite you to a free dinner over at an exclusive restaurant, let's say in Annapolis, Maryland. And you're like, oh, bet. Cool. You get over to said restaurant and you notice that there's a table. There's 4 spaces on that table, a chair for each quadrant of that square of the table. Obviously, you get the first chair. Now, here's where it gets a little bit technical. Who would be the other 3 guests? Now, they could be somebody that you know, could be somebody that you don't know, could be somebody that is, alive and well, could be somebody that has transitioned on, could be somebody that is, an everyday average Joe, could be somebody that's famous. Who are the 3 people?
3 other people.
If you want me to go first to give you an example, I definitely will.
No, well, you could give me an example, but I know for sure 2 of them, and so I think the people would be my wife Megan,
Mm-hmm.
Mike Posner,
Okay. And then there's a third one.
and Wim Hof.
Okay. How do you think that dinner would go, and what would you guys talk about?
I think that dinner would be outstanding. I think it would be fantastic and charismatic and educational, and I think we would talk about ice plunges. Mike Posner became a certified Wim Hof instructor in his journey, so we would talk about that a little bit, and also we would talk about Wim Hof's experience going to the deepest with the breath, because the cold exposure is one thing, and the breath work is the real place that the spiritual side of it gets really activated, and you can go really deep. So I feel that we would have an enjoyable time talking about spirituality, the nature of who we really are,
Yeah.
and overcoming challenge, So
What do you think that would be like on the food menu for you guys to eat for dinner that night? Like, what would you like to have?
Sprouts from my man Mike Posner from Sprouts. Yeah, salads and sprouts with avocado.
Nice.
And rice, delicious steamed rice.
Nice.
And veggies, and something like that.
Nice. All right, like I said, we got a couple more questions. For the person that's going to be coming up to test for their black belt, and they asked you, as like, a person of wisdom in that area, obviously, what one advice can you give me in order to get through my black belt test and to pass it? What would you tell them?
Don't give up. Don't give up. That's the main thing. In order to pass that particular test, you need to demonstrate your willingness to persevere through whatever the challenge is.
Right.
So, above all else, do not give up. And then a quick side note, as a word of wisdom from our master instructor, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
But make sure before you go about doing something 150 times that you're practicing the move as correctly as you can.
Yeah.
So those would be the two things I would say to develop that refinement towards your test. And, of course, the character needed day of the test is that indomitable spirit.
Yeah. There have been 2 black belt forms that you have done in your martial arts tournament career. One of them is Gunsen Gun Korean. The other one is Sabagwon. Which one was your favorite?
I think Sabagwon is my favorite form.
Really?
In the world, because Mr. Johnson gave me a really special experience when he taught me that form. He wasn't teaching it to everybody else at the time. Actually, like nobody knew it almost. And he gave it to me as my tournament form.
Wow.
So he kept me late. He asked my mom if I could stay after hours. Some nights everyone would leave, and he would keep me for like an hour or 2 hours, and just me, nobody else in the parking lot, and just working on Sabagwon. And so like the hit Mr. Johnson's fingers and the way he would do his cat claw, his pinky finger, and just like I always just loved watching him perform it. And it was maybe like one of the main forms like he taught me directly, because as the master instructor of the school, a lot of times you have a higher rank teaching a lower rank.
Correct.
You don't always get that hands-on with the instructor themselves. And so Mr. Smith taught me lots of forms.
Yep.
But Mr. Johnson only taught me a couple, like specifically like that. And when he taught me that form, it's like Sabagwon, man, was just amazing. The moves were different with the tiger palm and the cat claw, and
Yep.
It was like a little kung fu-ish. It was just amazing. It was an awesome form, and I didn't see anybody else doing it, so that was really, it fired me up like that. And then, of course, there's the kung fu second portion of the
Changyang.
form, the Changyang portion, which I did learn that and made it a really dynamic, long demonstration, which was you had to have endurance and wind and balance for that. So that was awesome too. But even if you strip away that second portion, Sabagwon is
Yeah, that's the
really
one.
near and dear to my heart. Yeah, for that reason, I got to share that experience with Mr. Johnson.
2 more questions. What kind of legacy do you want to leave on the world when it's all said and done, and they look at the name Omar J. Richter? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind that name?
Mostly peace. I want the things that I'm associated with to have to do with awareness of peace, and that human beings on this planet at the time that I'm alive, which is right now, are starting to wake up to our unity and our community, and the way that we can each get better by helping one another. So I would like anything that was referred to as my legacy to be associated with peace. So if it's some books, I want them to have an undertone of peace and personal development. My music, same thing, to inspire people to behave in a peaceful way. My children, I'd like them to grow up to be kind, peaceful, strong men of wisdom and knowledge, so that if they were a representation of me and my legacy, then they would be peaceful. So really, I think that's the undertone of my legacy. I would like it to be a life that was recognized as a man who was living in peace.
last question. If being that we're in this room right now, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, walking through that door is everybody in your family, the whole, Richter clan, the OGs and your generation and the next generation, if they were all here right now, looking at you, sitting or not sitting, but standing right there where the window is, right where we are, and they're looking at you, what would you say to them?
Thank you. I'd say thank you for being a part of my experience of life, and I'd say thank you for all of the ways you've helped me grow. That would be the love that's been showered and the challenges that have been presented through those particular people, because it's like they're the ones that have given me my most challenging moments and my most beautiful moments. That's family.
I don't think I have anything left to say, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you pretty much saw it right then and there. As soon as the rapid fire actually entered the ring and they rang the fight bell, as soon as that fight bell rang, Omar basically horse kicked the helmet right off the head. So, I don't think there's anything more to say other than the fact that you faced that challenge. You answered the questions. You did very well.
Thank you.
And wow, it's really awesome. It's really weird how it's like we've been friends for a long time, and then we go into a little transition where we haven't contacted each other or talked to each other in quite some time. But when we reunite, it's kind of like we picked up where we last left off, and it just feels like second nature that we can do that, and it's a cool thing.
I agree, Kim. I agree. Before we close the podcast, could I read one poem?
Yeah, hit it.
This is not a poem from the book.
Right.
But it'll be just a little something for everybody to relate.
Let's go for it.
This is called Not My Hands. I see I have two hands. What's the plan? Hurry to grab two fistfuls of sand. Rub them together slowly and scam. Clasp them as tightly as I can, like a clam. Adorn them with rings and admire the tan. Shake them at you in demands, commands. Put them around your throat. Make mayhem. Not my hands. One hand reaches up to my father. One hand reaches down to my brother. One hand holds the finger of God. One hand holds the hand of my child. I see I have two hands. One to wrap around the left of you, one to wrap around the right. One to pat you on the back. One to high-five you at first sight. One to pull a fruit, one to shade my eyes. Two hands to press together as my prayers cast inside. I see you also have two hands.
Wow.
Love the snap clap.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
That's the way that they do in spoken word, man.
For sure.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, Omar, it has been a pleasure to have you here. I didn't think that this was going to even happen, but the fact that it did happen, is incredible. And the fact that you actually just said, hey, why don't we do a little something, because I think it could be fun. It could be like the meeting of the minds. Let's see if we can put our two third-degree black belt minds together. What can we produce in this podcast episode? And then I just after just like thinking about it and just like staring at the wall, I'm just like, what, why not? I think if for anything, it's going to be a great time, which obviously it is. But we'll just see where it goes. And I'm glad that we were able to meet up and to get in the car, put the key in the ignition, and just start driving it, man. Start driving it.
Man, thank you, Kim. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is the part of the the episode where I give my guests any chance to go ahead and say any last thoughts. If you have like anything that you want to promote, like a your social media page or your web page, or anything that you got going on, or just any kind of special message, now's the time to do it, man. The floor is yours.
Kim, first, thank you so much. That's the main thing I want to say is thank you. Thank everybody who's put their time to listening to this conversation. I truly hope that we shared some wisdom, that collectively our mastermind coming together brought some clarity for you as a listener, maybe for one of your questions or one of your challenges you're going through. And I want to say that if you choose to get a copy of my book on Amazon, that is amazing. And I truly hope it inspires you. And the website is thinktheexcellentthought.com, which you can see some beautiful pictures and get to know my family a little bit and learn about what we're doing to share some alternative choices that you can make, empowered choices. And also we are on YouTube and Instagram with Imagine Excellence, and continuing to hope to grow across other platforms. So stay in touch as much as you possibly can. And I love you guys.
Omar, this has been a great moment. I really appreciate your time, brother. And, much, continued success in every creative outlet that you pursue. If you want to run this back ever again, you have an open invite. I'm going to leave you the key, the skeleton key to the back door. Just open it up and you might find me over there and you can just be like, yo, we got another episode that we got to record. I'm like, oh, real? For real? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do it. So open invite anytime, man.
Fantastic. Get ready for the next episode.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that's what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, will actually conclude everything. I'm going to go ahead and do the closing show notes. You would think that after 3 seasons, I have it down to perfection. And let me tell you something, I don't. I really don't. Let's just be real. I mean, every time that I try to do it, it's hit or miss. So let's just go ahead and do this. You can find me on Facebook. Go ahead and under the search box and find the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Like it and follow it. We are on the following social media platforms of Instagram and on Twitter. You can find me under the tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. Follow me, I'll follow you back. We are on a lot of podcasting platforms, guys. It's really sick and ridiculous. We got Spotify for all my Apple people. We got Apple Podcasts. We are also on Amazon Music. We are on YouTube Music, and also we are on Audible, which is powered by Amazon. And for all those that are kind of skeptical about Audible, go to audible.com right now. You can actually get a free 7-day trial membership. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe to it, and then it'll be $15 thereafter. Audible is a great platform to get every podcast access on the map and Audible book on the planet. Now, do your boy a favor. If you have Spotify, please like and subscribe to it and give me a 5-star review. If you have Apple Podcasts, also like and subscribe to it. Give me a 5-star review and a positive written review, because the more times we actually get that going, then the podcast is going to be jumping in the front of the lines on said Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So somebody could be like, yo, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. My boy Richard was telling me about this the other day, and he told me great things about it. Maybe I should like and subscribe to it. Yes, like the podcast. Subscribe to it on all the major platforms. We encourage you. And you know what? Do us a favor. Spread the word about it on your social media or in person with, a friend, a coworker, a family member, because in the business, we actually call that brand awareness. Sharing is caring, folks. You know what I mean? And it helps a lot. So, you do us that solid. We really appreciate it. Last but not least, guys, if you want to be a special guest, if you want to be a special guest host, if you have any constructive criticism, and normally sometimes when we don't have a special in-person guest, when we just, when I do it solo, if you have a question for our Q&A forum, go ahead and email me. The Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. This is how it works. Whatever the subject is, put it under the subject box. Whatever you got to write about, put it in the body of the email. Send it out. Within 24 to 48 hours, I definitely will have read it by then, and I will respond back to you, because I like that correspondence. It's the way of the world. we're in the days of technology now, guys. I mean, the technology game is a lot stronger than it was years ago. So, you can find me. You can definitely find me. You know what I mean? So, guys, just be safe out there. Make the right decisions in life, because, it doesn't do us any good if you make the wrong decisions in life. You land yourself in a pine box and you get buried 6 feet underneath the earth. We don't want that to happen. Why? Because, number one, we love you. Number two, we believe in you. Number three, we believe that you should be in a very good state of mind. You deserve all the happiness and all the great things in the world, because you deserve it. And anybody that tells you in life you can't do that or you don't deserve that, number one, breathe, relax, it's going to be all right. And number two, tell them to go kick rocks. You know what I mean? Because we got no time for that negativity, bro. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude everything. I want to say thank you so much for your time and just, believing in me and supporting this podcast and doing everything that you can to, spread the word and so forth. Keep on, spreading the word. We definitely do appreciate it. So, that being said, for my guest, Omar J. Richter, I am your host with the most, the man with the plan, the man that has the power that'll bring it less than an hour, your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, here, coming at you live from the KU Dungeon in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, saying thank you for listening to another great episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. We're going to keep doing it, guys. As long as you love us and support us, you want to keep on for us to do it, we're going to keep doing it. We're not throwing in the towel. There's more to come, guys. So for the one time, I love y'all. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you on the next one. Deuces. We are out. Peace.